all are doing well. I'm here after I promised you to upload the video on Sunday, which I had recorded on Sunday morning on my phone, and when I was transferring my videos from my phone to my computer with the USB stick, the USB stick suddenly got corrupted and I had to spend my entire Sunday, literally my entire Sunday, to recover my data on that USB stick. Again, all these reactions were normal, but my issue is, or was, or still actually is, the severity of it. I have never experienced anything like this. Plus, this sick for the last 2 decades. I'm telling you. I mean, again, the symptoms were normal, but the severity of it. Okay, let me start. So one, I go through step by step my experience. So if you have watched my previous video, after the shot, the technique was perfect. As you can see, she didn't aspirate. I get this question all the time. Watch my video. I explained that in the video. The technique was perfect. I have no bleeding at all, which I'm not supposed to have. I mean, I never had any bleeding after, but the previous one, the first shot, was completely missed the technique, and so no bleeding or nothing, no bruising or anything like that, like a perfect regular normal vaccination. So that's that. So in the video I was like super happy, right? I had a super dinner and stuff like that. I was so in a good mood, and then I said, oh, maybe I don't even need any icing or stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I feel like totally normal. I feel so good. I ended up needing to ice it because I was working until 3 a.m. to get the goddamn videos out for you. So it was way past my sleeping time. I promised myself not to do that anymore, but I just wanted to get this out because I knew that some people wrote to me saying that they want to get the vaccine this week, or they are scheduled to get the vaccine this week. So I wanted to get it out for you, my second shot experience. So I was working on that really from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. I was literally in this position and was on my computer, and so I wasn't able to move my arm, which I was supposed to do. So my arm was pretty stuck in this position for hours, which wasn't a good thing. Really, after 12 or close to 1, 2 a.m. or so, I was still working. I started to feel like this part was starting to get warm, and I had a harder time to lift. I was more painful to more sore to lift my arm up. So, and I said, okay, you know what, I better should ice it. So I iced it. I put the ice on because the moment I lift the ice, it was starting to get a little bit painful. And so, and closer to 3 a.m. where I almost was about to finish everything and upload all the videos to YouTube for you guys. So please watch my videos and like it and share it, so that at least I know it's worth it, worth my efforts, worth my, risking my health for this. So in any case, I couldn't took off the ice because it was starting to really getting painful. And so the heat was kind of moving towards here. So I had heat here in this area. These are all normal, expected stuff, okay? So the local immune reaction. And then at 3 a.m. when I was closing everything, I felt that my lymph nodes here were starting to get bigger, okay? And that's also normal. So I slept right away because I was super exhausted. So I slept. I woke up, I slept at 3 and I woke up at 7:30, which I had no idea what time it was. I just woke up. My head was just I had such a headache, and I thought it was my migraine. And the sun was so bright through the window that it poked through my eyes. I was like, oh, what is happening? I guess I slept so little, so it must be my migraine start to shoot And I said to myself, okay, I better go back to sleep, and I don't want to sleep too long because I want to still enjoy the whole day. But I said to myself, okay, it's better I get rid of my migraine, because if my migraine starts, I will be my day will be gone anyway. So let me sleep as much as I can and to rest so that my migraine won't be triggered. So I went to bed, and then I woke up at 9. I was like, oh, my head was so painful. My head was, the worst headache I ever had. I was like, oh, what's going on? It was beyond migraine. It was something else. It was just like such a pressure on my brain. And then I was so hot. And then I was like, oh, my entire body, a full body ache. I couldn't move my entire here, like my abdomen, my entire back and everything, my entire legs, and my full body ache. Again, that's also normal, but I was like, I'm so hot, like, oh, and I felt I was so warm, entire body. And I said, okay, that's it, I have to measure my temperature. So I measured it. It was 37.5, yes. So you can look it up what it is. But then I said, okay, and this is a low fever. Usually it's like 36, like on this 36 range, but when it's getting higher to 37, it's a lower grade fever. So I had fever, that was clear. And then, oh my God, my headache continued, and I had incredible amount of chills. Like, I was shivering. I had to put on blankets, and then 2 blankets, because I was so cold. And then I was like so hot, my temperature was raising up, and I was constantly measuring my temperature. And at one point my temperature raised up until 37.8, which I then looked it up, because it was like, wait a minute, this goes up, and I hope it won't go out like 38 or so degrees Celsius I'm talking about. So I looked it up, and then it was a 99.89, so 99.9 or almost 100. So I was like, okay, I really tried to juggle through this. I couldn't get off bed, but I'm telling you, the headache, I have never had a headache like this. If my brain had a chance to poke out of my nose or my ears or any hole it got, it would have. It was such a pressure, like here and then here and here, and it was like, so it was nothing. So listen, if you ever had migraine, it's like the highest level of migraine, if it's like 1 to 10, I don't know, beside the fact it was nothing like a migraine, it was like something like on the scale of 30 or 50 or something. 5 times of it. It was just so bizarre, like so intense. I have never had a headache like this. I had a severe migraine previously, but this was nothing alike. I can't even describe it. It was so intense. And then the fever, and the fever was always fluctuating. Thankfully, the highest was 37.8, but it was going on 37.6, 37.4, 37.5. It was always ranging up. I was always in the 37 range. So it was now noon, and I was extremely hungry, and I had to eat something, but I just can't get off bed. I was so in pain. I barely could walk. My head was exploding. My eyes were almost popping out. Again, these were all normal, but listen, I haven't had fever for the last 2 decades. Okay, so the last time I know that I had fever was 2005 back in Germany, before I even came to the US. And I know I had a bacterial infection and I was hospitalized. I had a fever then. And prior to that, it was 2003 during my PhD, also in Germany. I mean, I was also hospitalized for that, with bacterial infection in my system. That was basically it. After that, I haven't had, I mean, this is like, I'm talking about 20 years, I haven't had any fever or any kind of like situation like the, or this sick, you know. And but I'm telling you, the headache was nothing alike ever in my entire life. I'm telling you, I mean, immune reactions like these are normal, but for me, combine the entire vaccines I've got my entire life, starting from my childhood, combine them together, this was like 30 times of it, 20 times, 30 times of it. It was just like so heavy. And that will bring me to the discussion of what I'm thinking about, what this is. So thankfully I had Tylenol, 650 milligrams, not even 500. I had 600 milligrams of Tylenol, so I had to eat something, because I started to also, when I stood up, I felt nauseous. And I immediately had to eat something so that I could take the Tylenol. So thankfully I had the pizza left from the night before. Thankfully I had still some pizza left from the night before while I was celebrating. I immediately warmed it up and I eat it, and I took my Tylenol, 650 milligrams, which would last for 8 hours. Because I have drug hypersensitivity, Tylenol is the only thing that I can take, okay? So that's why I was glad that I always kept it, and thankfully I had it. So 650 milligrams is quite heavy, so I still had to take it. So I took it, and it's supposed to last for 8 hours. Listen, if you ever had migraine, I want to tell you that if you have migraine and your migraine kicks in, if you are in active migraine, your GI shuts down, and whatever medication you take, it will not be absorbed through your intestines, and therefore the effect of the medication will not kick in. Listen, it took 4 hours, 4 hours for the Tylenol to kick in. I'm telling you, from 12 to 4, I suffered like ongoing with all this pain and headache, and the headache was like going up higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And I know, I thought, okay, my brain had so much pressure and almost about to explode. I literally felt my brain is about to explode right now, because it will poke out from some hole of my body, because, and I thought, this cannot be good. How can this be good to have so much pressure in my brain? I felt like this is not normal. Like, what is this? Anyway, it took 4 hours for the medication to kick in. My body ache, as the Tylenol will do, my body ache first got less and less. So that was the first. The second, my chills went away, but my headache and my fever was still there. My headache was a little bit less, but still quite a bit. Around 6 p.m.ish or so, I was sitting on the chair by the window because I wanted to put myself a bit upright, because the more I lied down, my headache got worse and worse and worse. So I tried to sit up a little bit, because I felt like if I be a little bit more active as much as I can, or show my body that I'm a little bit active, maybe my symptoms get better a little bit sooner. So I was sitting on the chair by the window from 4 to 6 p.m. I had to cook dinner. Like, I had to cook a meal. That was like, oh my God, I have to cook now a meal. So I stood up and cooked a meal because I felt a little bit good between 4 and 6. So I cooked a meal, and it was really something very quick. And I immediately, while I was cooking, I sat down again. I was like, crashed, literally. It was like, oh my God. And I ate it a little bit, and I fell asleep from 6 to 8. I woke up around 8 because I thought, you know what, let me just don't push it, because if I sleep now, I can't sleep in the night. So I kind of forced me waking up, and literally by 8, as I took it at 12, at 8 p.m., every symptom came back, like the body ached and this extreme chills. Everything came back, especially the chills and the body ache. So I immediately eat my dinner, and then I took around 9 p.m.-ish a second round of 650 milligram of Tylenol. Then I tried to sleep at normal time, but I was literally, the fever just wouldn't go down. It was like fluctuating in the 37 degrees range. I felt so bad, and then I slept. So I fell asleep on the chair for about 5:30 or something in the morning, and then I woke up, I don't know, at 5:30, which I don't wake up usually, but so I woke up at 5:30, and I felt like, oh, I think I felt a little bit better. So I took my temperature. And by the way, this injection site was like swollen, which is also normal. So I took my temperature, and it was finally 36.9. So it finally went down to 36. I was like, okay, great. So I moved to my bed, so I said, okay, the rest of it I will sleep a little bit more in my bed. And I sleep a little bit more, I think for next 2 hours or so, and I woke up. Finally, my temperature was 36.6. My fever was gone, and my body ache was gone. My migraine or the headache was gone, but it was later turning into a migraine. So my migraine was slightly there from 1 to 10. It was a 2 or 3 or something like that. Still felt a little bit exhausted from it, but the symptoms dissipated. So, but I took a shower, but I saw that my entire upper body, my entire abdomen, here, and my back, especially my left side and so on, was completely red. I do not specifically link this to the vaccination, because when I had flare-ups, when my immune system shoots histamines out, or when something triggers my immune system and get flared up. I had this previously within this year, maybe 2 times or so before, which I informed my immunologist about it, took pictures and sent it to her. But this was again my proof that for the previous thing, that my immune system was acting up or was shooting something into my skin, most likely mast cells in the skin that is doing the stuff. So I guess my mast cells were also activated. So I took pictures, and I will also inform my immunologist about all my reactions that I had, but also especially on the 48 hours that looks like the mast cells were activated too, so that this was the exact same as prior skin reaction, so that it proves the fact that the immune system was acting up. So some of the lesions were also causing some itching, but that was also linked to the mast cells. So let me now tell you what I'm thinking about all of this. To me, as I said several times now in this video, it was not about, thankfully, the adverse events. None of this was adverse, but it was a normal reaction range. But the severity of it was way too intense. This showed me that one, my body never in the last 3 years had one single viral infection of SARS-CoV-2, period. My body never saw SARS-CoV-2. Never. So this means I had protected myself quite incredibly as a scientist, as a lab scientist. I did a fantastic job. Number 2, I am obviously a super dodger. Number 3, the viral infection I thought, after seeing all the long COVID symptoms that I thought that I thought that was now a pre-COVID COVID. That was not pre-COVID COVID. That was not COVID. If I had any type of COVID, I believe my immune reaction would have not been like this. Period. Period. That was, yes, a weird flu or something, but it was not COVID. My body never saw a SARS-CoV-2, period. So that's why it was so intense. Number 4, I believe, mark my words, this is a laboratory made very strong virus, period. Period. This is not a natural virus. My body 100% can tell. Why? Because my body is very pure and detox, clean, out of anything. Okay, I don't take medications, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke, I don't do this and drugs or whatever. I don't do any all of this. I eat healthy, I'm outside, I do activities, I do this and that. And I want to do a detox video because detox is not mixing 2 vegetables and make a juice and drink it and whoops, now you are detox. That's nothing like it. That's not detox. I don't know what it is, it's just a drink. It's not detox. You can fast as much as you like. That's not detox. Detox is a lifestyle. So I will comment down below if you want me to do a detox video. I will do it, but I still haven't. Drives me crazy when this marketing word of detox is just going rounds and rounds so wrongly. Anyway, so my body can tell what is natural and what is not natural. Also, as a biologist, I can tell you that a natural virus in this day and age, where there's absolutely no limitations on where you can reach, who can reach where. If this was a natural virus, at some point, at some part of it, at some particle of it, some piece of it would have be somehow distributed, somehow you would have get in contact with it, even if it's a piece of it, or a version of it, or a sub version of it. There's no, unless you live in a North Pole or South Pole, even that is not super isolated with the world anymore. So the severity of these effects of my body's reaction, I believe that this is not a natural virus. This was made in the lab, period. This is a very, very strong virus made in the lab, period. My body's reaction, I'm telling you, was out of this world. Like I have never been this sick. What is going on? I mean, after any vaccination, god damn it, what was that? Another thing, 2 things. One, no wonder why people who get the actual virus died. I mean, no wonder. If I just by the goddamn spike protein immunization get this reaction. I could barely hold myself together. Wow. Although I have a strong immune system, like genetics and all that, but look at this. I mean, as I said, the last time I had fever was 2 decades ago. I'm telling you. And I'm traveling around the world. I mean, are you kidding me? No wonder why so many people died. I can't imagine to have this whole virion in your body, like an active virus of this strong virus, an active virus in your goddamn body. Like, what is happening? I just can't imagine. People, if you would have not been vaccinated and just get this boom virus, this severe virus, an active virus, exponentially growing in your body, like, what is happening? No wonder so many people died. Number 2, all these reactions has nothing to do with the vaccine itself, Novavax, because Novavax protein vaccine is a standard vaccine. But I can't imagine if I took the mRNA vaccine, like what? Which are much stronger vaccines. My body, I'm not sure what my body would have done to it. I couldn't take it anyway, but I'm just thinking, if a regular vaccine, so again, these symptoms were nothing vaccine related, but rather the severity of the virus, the spike protein itself. But my body was like, what is happening? What is this? Wow. So thankfully I fought for 1.5 years to get the Novavax vaccine approved. I'm so happy that it worked, and I waited for it, and so glad that I never got COVID. So glad that I never had this virus in my body apparently. And I was tested multiple times. I was, as I said in previous videos, I was in I had an accident, had surgeries, therapy, in the midst of the pandemic. I had patients, I had to go to the hospital. I mean, I was constantly one-to-one, face-to-face with people, but I protected, and I had to go to groceries and blah blah. I'm so glad that I was able to protect myself and everything that I did worked. And I did so many videos about this because, as I said, as a lab scientist, I know how to protect myself, right, from all the viruses and the pathogens and stuff like that. I'm so glad that I had now this Novavax vaccine. Now, I mean, I feel good. I feel okay. Everything is just fine, totally normal. So in 48 hours on Sunday, I had no issues, but I was exhausted from all of this. So I felt a little bit, tired and stuff, but I had no issues. And on Monday, 72 hours is if nothing has happened. Let me tell you, the third part, what I'm going to mention, is what makes me so angry, is that this is lab made. Why? Why on earth do we have to go through this? Who put the responsible people accountable? Why cannot the governments hold these people who leaked this virus from the lab accountable? Why? Why did people, or do people, have to go through this? Why do I have to inject into my body a immunization, or just introduce to my body a lab-made, not even natural, lab-made virus? Why? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to be immunized if I was able to 3 years long in the midst of a pandemic able to protect myself without getting any single virus into my body, so that I can fly to see my family. Like what is this? Oh great, I'm now immunized. So why do I have to put my body through this? Why? Why did millions of people had to die? Why? Why the entire world's economy crashed because of this? Why do we have to do all this? Why? Who held these people accountable? Who? And why not? Why are we not holding these people accountable who actually caused this? I'm just speechless. Like, I can scream right now if I could, but I can't. Hello neighbors. I can't do that, but I could scream right now from anger. I was so pissed. I guess maybe the universe didn't want me to show you the video that I made, so it got corrupted. But listen, I don't want people to normalize this. Oh yeah, get vaccinated. Oh yeah, COVID. Now, the Biden administration just a few weeks ago said COVID is over. No pandemic. So the pandemic is over. And then this Omicron version of the mRNA from Pfizer came out and was suddenly approved by the FDA for children. Haha. Of course, for the adults, but also for the children. No clinical trials, no nothing, just flip-flop in the lab, and here we go. You will have it. Now approved also for children. And after the approval, what happened? The Biden administration announced it that for the next 3 months, for the next 90 days, for the next 3 months, we have still a pandemic emergency. Oh, I see. Pfizer's monetary emergency. Oh, sure, we got that. Because it's our responsibility to feed Pfizer. And BioNTech, oh, don't forget BioNTech. Because what they're doing, like, listen, let me don't even get started with BioNTech. Because I have some words about BioNTech. So, I can't believe this. Guys, this is nuts to me. Nuts. Just because now we are feeding again into Pfizer, everybody must get this Omicron version of the new mRNA vaccine. I'm personally done. I got Novavax, I'm done. And I'm fully vaccinated, and hell I am. Oh, hell I am. And Novavax, I'm pissed at Novavax that Novavax current vaccine that we got, is also protecting against Omicron and Delta. But they're just so weak to even stand up and say our vaccine is good for Omicron and Delta versions too. People who took full shots of the Novavax vaccine doesn't need to get the variants of the other vaccine. But of course, they just go with the flow and everybody manipulates the data of Novavax, and Novavax lets them. Novavax cannot stand up to scientists, Novavax cannot stand up to the media, Novavax cannot stand up to MDs, Novavax cannot stand up to the government. Just like, let it go, let it flow. And what about us? And then we end up being here doing videos until 3 a.m. in the morning, getting sick, just because we do the job of Novavax. Like, what the hell? Inform the public. So, that's the story. That's mind-blowing in my opinion. Never seen anything like this. I get vaccinated my entire life since my childhood, obviously. It was just beyond anything. This is not a natural virus. Mark my words. So I hope this was helpful to you. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments, what did you get out of this video? Was it helpful to you? What part was helpful to you? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care.